Boris Johnson accused of unprecedented, unconstitutional and anti-democratic abuse of power over plot to force general election after no-deal Brexit.
Here's a summary of the article.
Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn has called on the United Kingdom's most senior civil servant to intervene to prevent Boris Johnson from forcing a no-deal Brexit in the middle of a general election campaign. Corbyn wrote to Mark Sedwill, the Cabinet Secretary, on Thursday, accusing the Prime Minister of planning an unprecedented, unconstitutional and anti-democratic abuse of power, after it was reported that Johnson could hold a general election the day after Brexit. Corbyn's letter comes amid speculation that members of Parliament could stage a vote of no confidence in Johnson before October 31 as a means of trying to stop a no-deal Brexit, which would trigger a general election if successful. Forcing through no deal against a decision of Parliament, and denying the choice to the voters in a general election already underway, would be an unprecedented, unconstitutional and anti-democratic abuse of power by a Prime Minister elected, not by the public, but by a small number of unrepresentative Conservative Party members, he wrote. Corbyn's letter was released after Downing Street repeatedly refused to rule out delaying an election until the few days after Brexit on October 31, even if MPs trigger one beforehand by voting to oust Johnson in a bid to stop a no-deal exit. Many MPs determined to stop a no-deal Brexit believe that a confidence vote which triggers a general election is now the last mechanism available to prevent the UK from crashing out of the EU with no deal. The most senior aide in Downing Street, has reportedly warned that Johnson will simply refuse to resign during the 14-day period following a vote of no confidence, allow the UK to crash out of the EU, and then call a general election.
This post received a score of 44,311, with an upvote ratio of 84%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
We have very strict rules regarding general elections like no TV ads, no attack ads, no campaigning within X weeks of the vote, etc. Essentially, this appears to be where the hang-up is. Currently, the default result of Brexit is a no-deal exit on the 31st of October. It is expected that Parliament, which has so far voted against a no-deal Brexit on multiple occasions, will put up further legislation to prevent no deal again. By calling for a snap general election while October 31 is within 6 weeks, Boris can effectively prevent opposition to a no-deal Brexit from discussing, or even tabling new legislation, all while avoiding negative press about this particular issue.
The problem is that even with Parliament voting against no deal, that's still the default result. Parliament won't pass anything with backstop, and there's nothing else left.
The British Parliament has voted no to reality, therefore time will have to stop on October 30.
We apologise for the minor inconvenience. Dear other parts of the world, time will be restarted once Parliament found a solution to this particular issue. Best regards. The United Kingdom.
Can't decide if this sounds more like a Terry Pratchett or Douglas Adams quote.
Definitely Douglas Adams.
Ford flipped shut the cover of the guide and checked his watch. It was stopped, as usual. Most people assumed it was simply broken, but he knew that it was stopped because he'd purchased it in a dimension in which the British government had voted against, well, reality, permanently stopping time and preventing Brexit. He didn't mind though. He liked the watch, and he didn't really have anywhere to be.
Nice. The only thing I'd do is change anywhere to anyone.
It would also probably mean that another party would be in power with a different PM and have to clean up Boris' mess.
If they are anything like the US, if the Labour Party gets power, then the conservative media will rewrite history to make it seem like Labour was in charge when Brexit happened. Like how they try to blame the '08 economic downturn in the US on Obama when, in fact, we were already about a year into it by the time he took office.
That still boils my blood. I remember a couple of months into Obama's term and conservatives on Facebook were sharing photos of a smiling, waving Bush with the text, "Miss me yet?" No amount of arguing could convince them that the economic crisis had started under Bush. They were beyond convinced that the instant Obama got elected the global economy came crashing down thanks to the arrival of socialism in America.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.